Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, once again, we are the Two World Order. We are back. My name is Elliot.
Along with the co-host Omari.
And today we are reviewing the WWE SummerSlam, or Summerfest, of 2020 that we just got done watching a few minutes ago.
And honestly, we forgot everything that just happened, so bear with us.
Thank God for Wikipedia.
Yeah, we don't take notes well, or at all.
It's not worth taking notes for half the time.
I mean, it was a decent show.
Decent. The big show of the summer. SummerSlam used to be better than WrestleMania consistently. And I'm not blaming the mediocrity on COVID. Y'all been mediocre for years, but we'll get into that.
I mean, I can't argue.
You shouldn't. All right, so first, of course, we have to get with the pre-show match. It got bumped to pre-show status. We have the United States Championship. Apollo Crews, the champion, versus young MVP. I say young with all the air quotes.
Almost 50.
Is he?
I don't care to look.
Black don't crack. So yeah, Apollo Crews won. It was a pre-show match. Who cares?
I mean, honestly, my whole thing is you have an hour dedicated to a pre-show. It's your own pre-show. Why do you... This match was 6 minutes and 40 seconds. And the rest of the pre-show was just them talking about the rest of the show.
I mean, yeah.
To show hype packages that they show in the show.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. It was pretty pre-show.
I'm not saying give them like 20 minutes. I'm just saying you can do more with your time.
Yeah. So yeah, Apollo Crews, he hit a power bomb or something, and
he did his Apollo Crews thing.
He smiled.
I know Shelton Benjamin and Lashley showed up after Apollo won, and he ran away like a scared little bitch.
And they could have caught him. That was the crazy thing. He like slowly slid out of the ring on like some Franklin the Turtle shit, and they did not catch him somehow because, you know, once you leave the ring, the magical force field blocks you from getting attacked in like 90% of circumstances.
Like they all don't just hang out in catering backstage.
Right. So the amount of time we just dedicated to describing that to you was about the amount of effort they put into it. So whatever. Pre-show match, yay. Black people won, yay. And then, so we move on to the match, the show proper, starting off with the first women's title match of the night. This is the SmackDown Women's title.
Ignore that.
Ignore that. We have Bayley defending against Asuka, who has a title match for both brands tonight. She's, dominating as Asuka does. Very good match. It's pretty much impossible to have a bad Asuka match these days, I feel.
Yeah, and I mean, Bayley's good now they're actually giving her time to wrestle and not just lose and have no character.
Yeah, she was actually like busting out submissions and all kinds of crazy stuff. Like Bayley was allowed to... I'm not gonna say was allowed to because she hasn't had like a bad match in a while.
Right, but there was actually like psychology. I'm pretty sure she was working on like her leg working on Asuka's leg, I should say.
Right. But yeah, it was a good match, but it ends with the typical interference that these Bayley and Sasha Banks matches end with. Bayley was in the ropes and Asuka went for like a hip attack and missed, and Sasha took a bullet, and then Bayley won with the most devastating move in sports entertainment, the roll-up.
Which makes a couple appearances tonight. We'll get into it.
It's been making appearances like for the past, obviously the past like 25 years, but like the past few weeks especially, like between Raw and SmackDown, a lot of roll-ups have been happening, so it's old. We need to stop doing this.
It's never going to happen. It's WWE.
That's fine. But yeah, Bayley won the first match, the first of Asuka's matches, so we'll see how that turned out in the rest of the show. So for the next match, which I forgot happened until I'm now seeing it on the Wikipedia, was the Raw Tag Team Championships. It was the Street Profits, Angelo Dawkins and Montez Ford versus...
Minus Bianca Belair for some reason.
She was on main event. She was tied up.
Oh yeah, because that's so important.
Well, it's the main event. They go against Andrade and Angel Garza with Zelina Vega, who actually shows up to support her people on the outside of the ring.
Well, she's a manager, so she's got to get paid.
Fair enough. I don't remember anything.
This was a Raw match. There wasn't anything spectacular about this match that couldn't have happened on just anywhere on TV. It could have been on main event for all I know. I don't watch it. I thought main event was canceled. The only good thing about this match was the end because Montez Ford is ungodly athletic and I kind of hate him a little bit for it.
We all do.
And yeah, the Street Profits won. That's really all I can say about the whole thing.
Yeah, him deciding to flex and do like an unnecessary like twisted bliss frog splash.
Yeah.
It was pretty great, but that was literally the only highlight from the entire match. So skip that.
Honestly, yeah. The whole show could have been basically the same with or without it.
Yeah.
It was pretty non-consequential.
But somehow, apparently, that was longer than the pre-show match. But it was the shortest match on the main card for obvious reasons, because the Raw tag titles are the worst championships on the show, not counting the 24/7 title.
Yeah, that's pretty. Yeah, I have nothing more to say about it.
It's pretty bad. So next up, we move to actually a match I was actually interested in, because the feud building up and the promos building up have been very good, mainly because of one person. We have Mandy Rose versus Sonya Deville. In what was originally a hair versus hair match.
I think the hair versus hair match stipulation would have been better, but they moved it and changed it to a no disqualification, loser leaves WWE, which still is an interesting concept.
Yeah, it was interesting in concept on paper, but in reality, they really didn't do too much with the no disqualification stip.
Yeah, this was super, super clunky.
Yeah, I think at one point, Mandy goes to bring out a table, and she struggles to set it up. Like, she can't really lift it to, like, turn it on its, like, front facing side, which was kind of awkward. And she sets it up outside the ring, and Sonya uses a chair. I think that was just about the only non-disqualification thing that happened.
Yeah, they wrestled outside a little bit. Mandy slid some chairs across the table, almost into Sonya's face, but she ducked out of the way. It was innovative, but nothing really came from it.
Yeah, it didn't hit Sonya, so it kind of didn't matter. And honestly, this match kind of exposed that Mandy doesn't really have a moveset.
Mandy can do a lot of running knees. That's about it.
Yeah, so that's pretty much. I think that's how she won. She hit
she hit like three of them in a row.
Yeah, she hit 3 little fake Kinshasas in a row.
And
so
the best part of the match was honestly the ending in the worst way, because she hits the running knee, Sonya loses, she walks off all pretend upset, but not really, because we all saw this coming a mile away.
Right.
Otis runs out with the briefcase because reasons, and he does his caterpillar thing, and then Mandy tries to also do one and just ends up going backwards while she does it.
I like to think that caterpillar is a metaphor for, like, Dolph Ziggler's career. Just moving backwards, like his forward momentum, he's just sliding backwards.
Every time you mention him, he stays around for like another 6 months.
Yeah, he's like a gopher we can't get rid of. So yeah, that was that. So Sonya is going off TV, presumably to probably deal with, like, real life implications of this, like, trial with the unfortunate situation with the getting kidnapped. Or
potential kidnapping,
/ murder, apparently. I don't know what the hell was going on with that.
Yeah. Moving on to lighter subjects, let's talk about child abuse.
All right, so we have Mr. Dominic Mysterio, also known as Eddie Guerrero's son. Don't want the last name for you.
Son.
Yeah, he's making his in-ring debut against Mr. Monday Night Messiah, Seth Rollins. It was a street fight, actually. So
not to be confused with a no disqualification or a falls count anywhere match. They're all very different
somehow. There's kendo sticks in the street fight.
There's kendo sticks.
There were only kendo sticks in the street fight.
There were. That was all they used, really.
Yeah. So this was a weekend of debuts between this and Pat McAfee on NXT TakeOver last night.
Both were good for. I mean, I didn't expect Dominic to be bad. This was probably the second best match of the night for me.
Yeah.
And the longest, apparently.
Yeah, not surprising. A lot of stuff happened. There was a lot of plunder, a lot of
beating people with kendo sticks.
Yeah. Rey Mysterio was at ringside, even though he promised early in the night, he promised not to get actually involved in the match.
So he was just there hanging out.
Yeah, so while Murphy was helping Seth Rollins get him kendo sticks, Rey's just chilling. Whatever, my son can do it. He's never wrestled before.
It got overbooked a lot towards the end.
Yeah, so we had Rey Mysterio's wife or Dominic's mother.
I think they said it was his wife.
Okay, because I don't know how that family dynamic works, nuclear families and shit. So yeah, she comes out because, of course, she's concerned for her son after he's getting his ass beat with kendo sticks and his own hoodie, because for some reason his attire has a hood on it, and he was just constantly, like, snatching it off of his head during the match.
Yeah,
it was weird.
There were a lot of awkward outfits tonight.
Yeah.
Either way.
Anyway.
So she shows up, Ray comes out to tell her to just, like, stay back, don't do anything. At some point, I can't remember the exact sequence, but Rey Mysterio gets handcuffed to the ring, even though the handcuffs weren't fully on him, and you can clearly tell he's, like, bending his wrist to make it look like he's stuck.
Do not discriminate against the small wrist people.
I don't even want to get involved with that contingent of people. It sounds like just awful.
I'm sorry.
Anyway.
I apologize for my co-host.
I don't apologize for anything.
He said it, not me.
Small wrist bastards. Anyway, So, yeah, Ray's handcuffed, can clearly get out, doesn't want to. Secretly, he wants to watch his son get beaten.
Some men just want to watch the world burn.
And he did.
So Dominic, after he tries to stop Seth from murdering his mother / Ray's wife, ends up actually losing while Ray is still handcuffed to the ropes. He gets curb stomped and actually loses. I was not gonna lie, I was actually surprised because we all know WWE likes to bust out wins for debuting people. Between this and Pat McAfee actually losing, I was very shocked.
Yeah.
But
it's a weird weekend for that.
Very good performance by Dominic. I don't think we really expected it to be bad. He's been training. It's not like he literally was just started today.
Right, and Seth can carry people to a good match. And it's a street fight, no DQ, falls count anywhere stipulation, which I'm sure helped out a bit.
So I'm interested as I can be in WWE products to see how Dominic goes forward, going from here in regular matches and such.
He'll never come back.
He's dead, Jim. He's dead. So next up, we have the second women's championship match. This time for the Raw women's title, we have Asuka again going against Sasha Banks with, of course, Bayley in her corner.
Match of the night.
Yeah. As it was
last time.
Yeah, Asuka and Sasha can pretty much do no wrong unless something like catastrophic happens. Asuka, oddly, she surprisingly wasn't really like selling the previous match. As far as because she got beat down after the last match briefly. She came out with a different coat, I think, which was pretty funny to me.
I mean, it's a new match. You got to switch it up a little bit.
Yeah. It was a good match. I recommend going to watch the entire match, but the spot of the match and probably of the night was Sasha going for a sunset powerbomb on Asuka to the outside of the ring.
Just whipped her head right into the ground.
Jesus Christ. Asuka did not block at all. We normally are concerned about Sasha. In Sasha matches, she likes to go hard and almost break her neck for every bump. But
her and Big E.
Yeah, tonight the role of Sasha was played by Asuka because Asuka was taking some hits. She got kicked in the head legit a couple times. She was not blocking, but it made for the match to be good and hard hitting as you expect. So the ending comes where we pretty much do a mirror of the first match of the night, where Sasha now is in the ropes and Asuka goes for the hip attack. But this time, and Bayley goes to try to block it, but this time it doesn't work. And Sasha actually counters the counter, so to speak.
Yeah, there was a lot of counters and transitions in the end between the bank statement and the Asuka lock.
Yeah, so basically the distraction didn't really work, and Sasha got put in the Asuka lock and tapped. So Sasha's a 5-time Raw Women's Champion or something, and has not defended it successfully once, which is a shame. It's a very terrible statistic.
Just don't talk about it.
I was actually rooting for Sasha to win this match just because of that. But, it was a good match, and so we're clearly building the dissension again between Sasha and Bayley because we can't ever pull the trigger on this shit.
It'll keep going for another 2 years.
They'll finally pull the trigger on Backlash 2022.
Yeah. What's a random December pay-per-view?
TLC.
Something like that. It won't even be it'll be a chairs match.
Yeah, but other than all that, it was actually a good match with a relatively clean finish, which is not something we got at the last pay-per-view, so thank God they didn't go too overboard with it on that one.
We got a clean finish in the next match.
The worst. So that next match is the WWE Championship match. Drew McIntyre, the champion, against Randy Headlock Orton. I say that, but there weren't a lot of headlocks in this match, surprisingly.
There was just one really heavy one, but honestly, for a Randy Orton match and for what I was expecting, especially in 2020, he actually looked motivated to do this.
Right.
And, he hit it was on Drew, but he hit a suplex from the announce table on the outside. At one point, Drew was on the ropes, and he, flipped him from his neck off the top rope. Randy actually took some good bumps.
He decided he wanted to kill and die this night. Yeah, it was a long match, apparently. It was the second longest match of the night. It was 20 and a half minutes, which I didn't really realize, but it's a Randy Orton match, so the 20 minutes felt like about 32.
It took a minute to get going, but once it did, it wasn't a terrible match. But, I think we had no expectations for it whatsoever.
Oh, but the ending. It wasn't a completely terrible ending, but as referenced earlier, So basically, Randy sets up to do a punt, like he does. Drew is basically standing on his, standing upright, so I don't know why he even went for it. Hits him with a power bomb, sets up for a Claymore.
Randy completely ducks out of the way, which was honestly a pretty innovative way of just avoiding it. And then Randy goes for an RKO. He spins him around. Drew backslides him, and that's the end of the match.
Big 12-foot ass Drew McIntyre winning with a damn backslide in a WWE Championship match in a pay-per-view.
You'll never see it coming.
I didn't. Stop doing these. Let Randy Orton just eat a damn Claymore and just keep it going. I guess this is to keep the thing open because
Randy is not taking that kind of. He's not getting kicked in the face.
Also, if you don't eat a finisher, you didn't really lose in WWE logic. So I'm sure
you can just ask for a rematch, depending on who you are.
Payback is next week. There's going to be a rematch.
Exactly.
We ain't got time for this shit. We ain't got time to build up a new damn title match. Just the second greatest wrestling match ever. Payback. I'm calling it. Just, you can't beat me. I beat you. You can't Claymore me. I RKO you. I hated it.
And before we get caught in this loop, speaking of setting up new matches with a week's worth of build out of nowhere whatsoever, let's talk about the main event.
So, main event, the fact that it was the main event, you knew some shit was going to happen. We got The Fiend, Bray Wyatt, my favorite wrestler on the roster right now, just putting that out there, versus the Universal Champion, Braun Strowman, and a false count anywhere match.
Different from the street fight.
And different from no disqualification. Typical plus side, there was no red light.
Horror lighting.
The match wasn't in 340p. We actually got to see what the hell was going on. So they brawled. The
Fiend had his power spots. Michael Cole's freaking out like he's never seen a Fiend match before.
Right. They briefly went backstage
where no one was in Gorilla.
Right. They were tired. They was ready to go home.
You know Vince stays there. Vince lives in Gorilla.
Look, Vince almost got raped by the Fiend on SmackDown. We're not repeating that.
Fair enough.
So they brawl backstage for a bit. It gets to a point where they get back outside. Braun gets a box cut. I'm thinking we're gonna go full mature rating and slit his wrist or something. Obviously, they won't.
I thought he was gonna cut his dreadlocks or something, like he's the Predator, and that's his
power.
powers and the dreads.
Right. So he cuts up the ring. I guess he was gonna send Bray to literal Christian hell under the ring. You know how that works. Bray basically, gets up and Sister Abigail's on twice.
Three times
on the exposed wood of the ring after the canvas had been cut up to win. So now Bray the Fiend Wyatt is a two-time Universal Champion
for about a week, because in the biggest shock of the night,
Swerve.
I mean, just out of nowhere, literally, Bray gets speared. I thought it was someone from Retribution. They were just showing up to just wreck shit like they do, but nope. It was Roman Reigns.
Roman has come back, ladies and gentlemen, and he is burying people left and right. He's not.
He's not. He was doing his Roman thing. He was just angry.
He seemed kind of heelish. After he speared the Fiend, and also, side note, apparently the Fiend is just weak to spears because he was just selling the shit out of it.
Yeah, he did not move after this.
Yeah, he goes to attack Braun outside the ring with the chair, and he's screaming, "I made you. Wouldn't be a monster without me," which is facts.
It is true. It is true.
And then he goes and spears Bray a couple more times and grabs, calls him, I think he called him a freak in him. You're just a freak in a mask.
Yeah.
He seemed more heelish than normal. I know Roman has always been kind of cocky, but he seemed kind of dickish cocky, purposely dickish cocky. Heel dickish cocky, not face dick, which is a difference.
Face dick. Anyway.
Edit that out.
I'm fine with heel or kind of anti-hero Roman.
Yeah. I don't think he's going to have a title match at Payback. I think they're going to slow.
You doubt WWE.
I don't know. Payback is next week.
I don't get why they didn't just have him interfere and keep the belt on Braun just to hot shot it, but what do I know?
I think we're just all over the Braun as champion thing. I think that's honestly what it is. His reign has not been great.
There is one more week for another pay-per-view. Who is it hurting?
Me. It's hurting me.
Fair enough.
Also, quick speculation. I don't trust WWE to do it, but Roman maybe we'll link him to Retribution because they didn't show up at all in the show despite having promo packages and whatnot. So maybe we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, we'll unfortunately be back next week to review Payback.
I feel like Payback will be better than SummerSlam.
Overall,
fine. I think SummerSlam gets a meh. It was the definition of average. It was not. It wasn't great, but it wasn't terrible. It's pretty middle of the road. It's not something I'll probably go back and watch ever.
Yeah, I'd say 3 out of 5, if I'm being nice.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
So, until next week, when Payback comes out,
Damn it.
Yeah, it's a pretty big damn it. Also, we're gonna try to. I said this last time too. We're gonna try to be more consistent and get some more reviews out of different things, not just wrestling in general, but just anything. If you have any suggestions of anything you want us to review, TVs or shows or movies, hit us up on Twitter, leave a comment on the video, hit me up on Instagram. All those links will be in the description.
Yeah, the worse it is, the more you can hear Elliot just rant about and just go into spirals about how terrible things are.
One of these days, it's going to be something I just refuse to just put words to, and you'll just hear me just crying and yelling in the background.
It'll pretty much just be me trying to not laugh my ass off while explaining something.
So if you want to hear something like that, if you have something really terrible for us to review, I've been told we should check out P-Valley. I've read descriptions of it. I'm not looking forward to it, so that might be something to send me into a spiral of rage.
We'll get there. Either way.
So until then, I'm Elliot.
I'm Amari.
This has been the 2 Word Order. Thank you for listening. Follow us on all the medias.
There you go. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Until next time, peace.